Greetings, everybody. My name is Liam Phillips, and welcome to the No Problems, Only Possibilities show. This is the free one, and since we only have two people on at the moment, I think I'm possibly going to cancel the shows after this because I've sent the invitation out to like 400 people, and to have two people on it is really, it's obviously not worthwhile for you guys. So, a third person. How does it get any better than that? So today, or maybe it's the subject. I don't know, maybe only the people that are really showing up. I know for some of you, it's like midnight or middle of the night. I can understand that. Maybe it's the name of the show, Living Beyond the Artificial. Maybe not a lot of people want to live beyond artificial. Maybe everybody is happy with their artificial lives. I loved the little header that I created for the for the email, and it was a picture that I took of a house just across the road. And when I walked past it, I didn't have my glasses on, but I went, those plants on that lawn is weird. So I had to get up really close, and I felt the plants, and I put my hand on the lawn, and I realized it was astroturf and plastic plants. And for me, it was just a really interesting way of looking at life. I remember my grandfather many years ago, he would say, well, if I had my way, I would just concrete the whole of the backyard to make his life easier. But how much are we buying the artificial lives as a reality and cutting ourselves off from the element of nature and the element of the earth, that very thing that gives us that sexual energy that creates and generates our bodies. So it was interesting because when I took that photo too, a lot of stuff was coming up in Access about artificial intelligences. And so not only are we buying these artificial flowers, artificial furniture from IKEA that will last one generation only, we're also buying into people's artificial stories. We're buying into the artificial programs, or the what Access calls the artificial intelligences. How many of us sit at home and we watch television or read the newspaper and we literally buy that as a reality? We buy somebody else's story and try to make it fit into our realities, rather than looking at it and going, well, this is a little bit insane. If you haven't watched it and you do have Netflix, I thoroughly recommend going on there. I can't remember what it's called now. I just watched it. It was about a guy. It's not a movie. It's a magic show, and the guy does some hands-on healing. And it's really fun and really interesting. And it really created a lot of interest in my world, because he had to look at, because he was talking about this very thing about artificial, and a lot of his tricks were talking about how he had like newspapers. At the beginning, he gave out this envelope. And then he got people to tell stories and write them down. And at the end, he pulled out this envelope, opened it up, and there was a newspaper from a couple of weeks back. And each story that was told in there, and I've got to mute someone because they're driving me batty. Sorry. I don't know. If there's someone that's got something in the background. Yeah. I just muted you, Margaret. Sorry. And they brought out this newspaper, and all the stories that had come up in the audience was in this newspaper. And his the way that he explained it was that we see all of these things and that we start to create this artificial life, this artificial intelligence, and we take it all on and we create our lives based on that story. And a lot of his show, it's really worth watching, because a lot of his show was actually about, if you get over your story, if you don't buy or sell or tell your story, which is one of those things that we have in Access in the 10 Commandments, that you can create anything that you desire. So how many of you desire to, how many of you have been caught up in these artificial intelligences? And everywhere where you have been having an artificial life, will you now destroy and uncreate it all? Good and bad, right, wrong, pop, popcorn, ice, short boys and beyonds. And artificial intelligences are all these things that have been programmed into us to give it to make sure that we stay stuck in the story or stay stuck in our definition of what life is or isn't. And it's these very definitions that keep us in places that we cannot change. Now, since I don't know if you all know, because we've got some new people on, I don't recognise. Hello, everyone. We've in Access about almost 12 months ago now, Gary said that we had reached that place where 10,000 people were choosing consciousness. And it's not just in Access, it's a worldwide knowing that when 10,000 people choose consciousness, the face of the planet can change. Okay, so we've seen that with the election of presidents such as Donald Trump. We've seen that with a lot of things, like within business. Many of us are actually experiencing it as different things showing up in our bodies. Many of us are also experiencing it as different things showing up in our relationships. And some of us are also experiencing it as an intensity of things that we thought we had changed. And then all of a sudden it's way back up in your face again. Now, if you're having that showing up, this is one of these artificial intelligences. And for me, it's like these tendrils that come out. You're just about to make that breakthrough. You're just about to really choose to be the chooser, which is actually the gift that you be. Your choice, by you being the chooser, is the gift. As you start stepping into that, choosing you being the gift and creating your own reality from ask and you shall receive, these artificial intelligences come back into play to pull you back into the artificial, the world that matters. So everywhere where you've created a world that matters, would you now be willing to destroy and uncreate all of that? Anywhere where you have been part of creating that world of matter, where everything is solid and everything is concrete and everything is real and nothing can change unless it fits into the algorithm of the artificial intelligence. Would you now be willing to destroy and uncreate all of that and give it back to where you bought it? Now, that might be this lifetime, it may be 4 trillion years ago. And everything that is, can we now destroy and uncreate it all? Good and bad, right, wrong, pop, popcorn, ice, short boys and beyonds. So, now if you got all of that, that's great. I do have a class coming up on this Friday, which is in 2 days' time, wherever you are in the world, called Molecular Demanifestation and Demolecular Manifestation, where we'll be going into that a lot more. There'll be an hour-and-a-half class online, and we'll be doing a lot of exercises and also a lot more clearings into creating a different reality and communion and engagement with the elements and the molecules of consciousness. So please jump on that. If you it's only $75, so it's going to be a very intense exploration into more of this communing and giving up everywhere where you have defined your reality. So everywhere where you've gone, another $75. That's just Liam trying to get money, or I haven't got it, or I haven't got the time, or these are all the ways that we define our reality. These are all the stories, all the excuses, all the artificial intelligences that tell us that we can't have that. We can't have communion with molecules. We can't change things with these processes because basically we're fucked up. It's not possible. The human reality is real of no change. And if you do want something to change, you have to put it through a government department and spend $50 million on a $5 million bridge to get it stamped and approved before anything can change. So anywhere where you're buying that reality as your reality, will you now destroy and uncreate all of that? Good and bad, right, wrong, pop, popcorn, ice, shop, boys and beyonds. That is just so weird for me. It's just everything's gone. How does it get any better than that? I had this other thing that I wanted to say. I did the clearing and now it's gone. So has anyone got a question? Shut me up.
Hello, what is artificial intelligence for access meaning?
Yeah, artificial intelligence, I can't remember the exact definition. I just know how it works. So artificial intelligence will always give you the answer. It's like an algorithm almost. It'll give you the answer and take you out of the question. And so that I've spoken a lot on all of these calls about the 4 elements of creation, which are choice, possibility, and contribution. And so every time that you start to step into choice, question, possibility, and contribution, have you noticed that somewhere along the line you have an excuse, or you have a story that stops you from really truly choosing that, or that you go into the story and when you look at it, you see that you are now out of question. So the artificial intelligences are really designed to keep you from ever choosing those 4 elements of creation and being, not just using them, but being them, which is actually part of your quote unquote genetic makeup of who you be as a being. Your genetic makeup as a being, yeah. Part of those elements of that genetic makeup are the choice, the possibility, the question, and the contribution. And so every time that those AIs come up, those artificial intelligences, you'll find that it's sort of like it's a judgment of you, yeah, or it's an excuse for not showing up, or I haven't got the money, which is a story, or it's or you go back to an experience, or you look at the wrongness of somebody else's situation, so that you never get to be the contribution that you truly be, which is being the question and asking and then receiving. And so they're always it's like this universe's, or this reality's way of locking you back in so that you don't change, so that you cannot be the undefined you, because these artificial intelligences want to keep you defined, because when you're defined, you can be found and put in a box. And it's sort of, I can give you an example in my own life. I've been treading along this path where I've had something going on in my body, and I've been playing with the medical profession here in Australia, and they want to sell you it so badly. They are right, and anything that you have to say is wrong. They won't say that out loud, but all of these artificial intelligences start to come into play. I start to go into a lot of the distractor implants, which we've talked about in this show before. One of those doubts. And so when you start to doubt you, it starts to erode and allows these artificial intelligences to put you back into the box so you can be manipulated and destroyed. Because if you guys were really, if you guys were choosing to be out of the box wouldn't like it, because then it can't control you. So all the AIs that are keeping your box safe so you can have a frigid life, can we now destroy and uncreate all of that? Good and bad, right, wrong, pop, popcorn, ice, shot, boys and beyonds. Now, that may well be one that you want to run a few million times, because that frigidity, have you noticed when you choose that frigidity, it's like you cut off your sexualness, you cut off the energy, the nurturance, the kindness, the caring that sex and sexualness can be for our bodies. And this can then manifest or show up in your reality as a body problem, as a financial issue, as a relationship breakdown, as a communication breakdown. And all of those things are of this reality: money, sex, relationship, spirituality, and they're all, and power, and they're all designed to keep you trapped. So when you step out of those boxes of those five elements of building blocks of this reality, it activates all these AIs that you've brought into to pull you back in. So all of those people that are willing to acknowledge that they either were the creator, the perpetrator, or maintaining those AIs for all eternity, would you now be willing to destroy and uncreate that?
Yes.
Good and bad, right, wrong, pop, popcorn, ice, short, boys and beyonds. And for those that don't, die. Yeah. And it's this very killing energy, that killing energy, which is actually a potency that you've been told is so wrong, that would allow you to destroy the AIs. So whenever you find yourself going down the rabbit warren, how many of you are going, like every facilitator on the planet is like pulls in different types of people. I'm one of these kind, caring, gentle dudes that has had the kindness and the caring and the gentleness used against me. And so I often pull in a lot of people like that. And what happens is every time that you step up into being that power and potency, and even and drawing the line and going no, or stepping up into you do that again and I will kill you, you have to go into the judgment of you, that is somehow a wrongness, rather than that is your power and potency of being kind and caring to you, and not taking somebody else's point of view that is being projected at you, or trying to fit into their agenda. Because people like me, and a lot of people that like me, that's why they're here on these classes, they have this tendency to be able to know what somebody else's agenda is, know what they require, know what they desire, know what they want, know what they need, and then they will do everything to bend, fold, and mutilate themselves into creating that for that person. And you'll even go as far as being a cunt, cow, faggot, bitch, because that's the way that person wants to be treated. And then when you say these things that are really nasty to them, you're going, that's not me. What the fuck is going on? That's because they're creating that reality to pull that towards them, because that's what they're asking for. And then you beat yourself up for being the cunt, cow, faggot, bitch. that they want you to be. Yes, well, we've only got 2 people on. Marie's nodding her head. Marika, I'm not sure if you're nodding your head or not. And the others, I don't care about because you're not on. You're not on. But if you are nodding your head to that, or it feels light for you, then you're one of those people. So everywhere where you have an AI in place that activates every time that you step into being a power and potency, or the killing energy, or the standing up for you and saying no, would you now be willing to recant, rescind, revoke, reclaim, renounce, announce, destroy, and uncreate all of that? Good and bad, right, wrong, pop, popcorn, ice, short boys, and beyonds. See, these AIs are so invasive. Is that if you're anything like me again, and you've brought the point of view that kindness will overcome anything, then you have to cut off a lot of other potencies that you have to maintain that, or to make that a rightness in your reality. So every time that you're not the kindness, the gentleness, the softness that you be, every time that you are that, you have to go into the wrongness of you, because that's an artificial intelligence telling you that you're wrong in some way, that it's not matching what you have made right. So everywhere where you have bought the point of view, sold the point of view, maintained the point of view, created the point of view, perpetrated the point of view that kindness will always win, and cut off all your other power and potencies for that one kindness and caring type energy, will you now destroy and uncreate all of that? Good and bad, right, wrong, pop, all night, short boys, and beyond. Does that help, Maria?
Yes, but the fact that kindness not always win, it's completely out of my...
Well, what is it for you? Or just while you're thinking about that, just stop there. Like everything that I just said now, anywhere where you're trying to make any of that fit your reality and it doesn't, that's an AI. Yeah? The first question you've got to ask is this true for me? Or is this pertinent for me? Don't try to fit into something that is not true for you. That's an AI that will fuck you up. So anywhere where you've done that, will you now destroy and uncreate it all?
Yes.
Good and bad, right, wrong, pop, popcorn, ice, short boys, music. We've got 10 people on the call or so right now, which is, thank God for that, because we started off with just one lonesome cowboy or cowgirl. And so not everything I say is going to be pertinent for you, because we're looking at 10 people now, and then we're tapped into a whole bunch of other people. So everywhere where you've made it pertinent to you when it's not, will you now destroy and uncreate it all? And all the AIs that hold that in place, will you now destroy and uncreate it all?
Oh, yes.
Good, bad, right, wrong, pop, popcorn, ice, short boys, and beyonds.
To destroy the AI, it's just using the cleaning statement or using the algorithm with the 5? What is required?
I'm not sure what your question is. Can you explain it so an old man with grey hair can get it?
Okay, I have to practice to see what the best to destroy and create the AI I can perceive.
Oh, okay. Well, if you're wanting to do that, yes, play around with it. I'm not going to go into that. That's something that we'll do on Saturday with the molecular demanifestation class. But I can say this, because you've asked the question, is first of all, just destroy and uncreate any AIs that are holding this in place. It's so simple. Oh, are there AIs holding this in place? Yeah, Pod Pocket.
Okay.
If you're anything like me, then what occurs often for me is that I try to either understand what I am trying to get rid of, or I try to make it fit some story that's going on in my reality. Rather than just go, oh, there's AIs there. Bye-bye, AI. Oh, I like that. Maybe that's the new clearing. Bye-bye, AI. Yeah.
Thank you.
And
Yes.
notice how when I say that bye-bye AI, that it's light, because it's fun and it's easy to remember. You know, and if you're new to Access and you can't remember the clearing statement, bye-bye AI. And then like you can't really make it so significant. It's just like bye-bye, bye-bye. And so what we're looking at here is that energetic component that starts to unlock everything. I swapped a session with another facilitator today, and it was really brilliant. We both facilitate in very different ways, which was really great, because if I had chosen a facilitator that facilitates me in the same way that I facilitate me, we wouldn't have got anywhere, because then we'd be doing the same thing, and I'd know what questions that they're going to ask and what answers I'd be giving, because that's why you can't go into somebody's reality when you facilitate them, because then you won't be able to ask the question that is going to flip them out of their AI. And everything that is, will you now destroy and uncreate it all? Good and bad, right, wrong, pop, pop, corner, short person. So if you've got something that's going on in your reality, there's a couple of things that you can do. A, get your bars run. B, if you're facilitating yourself and it's not changing, get somebody else to facilitate you. Or C, jump on a class. Like there's thousands of class, or online any moment in the world right now, I'd imagine. And then there's also maybe classes that you've bought before, or a freebie one of these. Like all of you that are on the class right now, I've just given you a summation of like 20 days of straight classes that I've just done in one soundbite. So I apologize. But you might want to listen to it over and over and over and over again, so that you start to, well, not, you know, but if you're going to come on the molecular demanifestation class, that I would thoroughly recommend listening to this one again, because it's going to give you the grounding to launch straight into that class without me having to speak for half an hour on this again. So how's Maria's reality now? Better, same, different, worse?
Better.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Thank you.
Well, we've sort of reached the end, so we've got time for one more question. If not, it's bye-bye from me.
Can I ask a question, please?
Yeah, sure.
Is AI, you have AI and the distract implants, are they the same? Is there overlap, or it doesn't matter? Just spot and pop them.
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter. You are correct. And at the same time, you've got to look at the energy of it. So let me ask you a question. Have a look at distractor implants, and now have a look at AIs. Okay, same or different?
They're different, but for me, the distractor implant energy is easier to catch than the AI energy.
Yeah, okay, cool. So how many AIs have you got that are wrapped around the distractors?
Oh, a lot.
All of those AIs, would you now be willing to destroy and uncreate them all?
Yes.
Good and Bad, Right, Wrong, Pop, Popcorn, No, Short Boys, and Beyonds. If like I've done a lot of work on distractor implants over the years, and like last year, I spent like 3 months, probably 6 months on distractor implants alone in my own reality. And so now like there's 24 distractor implants. Now I really know the energy of each distractor implant. It's almost like it's an education, like being working in a fruit shop and knowing all your fruits. They're all fruits, okay, but each one has a different flavor and a different color.
Even apples have different kind. There are apples and apples and apples and.
Well, exactly. You could become an expert on apples, and you can become an expert on distractor implants. And then there's all of these fungals and diseases that wrap around the apples, and these are the AIs.
Ah, thank you. That makes sense.
Yeah. So if you've been clearing a lot of judgments and agendas, or what you were saying, distractor implants, and it's not changing, you could start going, okay, all the AIs that are attached to this are now destroy and uncreate it all.
Okay.
All the AIs, bye-bye. Bye-bye, AI.
And with working with the distractor implants, do you work with all 24 at the same time, or do you work with a group to recognize those energies and then go to the next, or what would you recommend in general?
Are you a certified facilitator, or are you a BF facilitator, or?
I did one bars class, and I'm doing a lot of online classes, but I have not done foundation yet.
Okay. So, well, that would be great if you could get yourself to a foundation. In the meantime, if you haven't bought it, buy that book, Living Beyond Distraction.
I have it.
You have it, and read it. Okay.
It's great.
Like the best thing when you notice that it's a distractor implant is that you destroy and uncreate everything that's beneath that distractor implant. Because when you start to get distracted, say by like by sex or relationship, you'll notice that other distractor implants also come up: anger and rage. Maybe there'll be some obsessive, perverted points of view in there thrown in as well. Maybe there'll be some fear and doubt will come up, and then the fear and doubt starts to activate other distractor implants. So if you destroy and uncreate everything that's holding all the distractor implants in place, then all of them will start to pop off.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not necessary for a day-to-day person using Access to know all of the distractor implants inside out, etc., etc., etc. But if you're facilitating people and you want to be a better facilitator, it's good to study it. Yeah, like if you want to be an accountant, you want to study accountancy, so you know all of the AIs that are hidden there that keep you in a loop that you can't see a way out. So if you're choosing to be a facilitator of this in some way, and that could mean that you're facilitating your family, then study up on it, because then you'll see when somebody is in a distractor implant. But only clear it if it works for you. Otherwise, don't. Now, you've got to be willing to wait and ask a question. Sorry?
At the moment, the focus is on me.
Yeah.
With the distractor implants and all the other things. Well,
so you want to clear all of that and educate yourself about that and have fun with that. And then what will happen is, and you've probably already perceived this, people around you start changing. And they'll either leave your reality or they'll step it up to try and make you wrong, or they will change with you. And, you know, like the evil mother-in-law suddenly embraces you with open arms and apologizes for something that she's done, which has occurred in my reality. And I've gone, what the fuck? The POP police have been here. How does it get any better than that? Yeah.
At the moment, I'm in a phase where whenever I choose for me, I get a lot of energetic resistance from family, from other things. So I try to keep pot and POC and keep choosing for me. But this really helps knowing about the AI.
Yeah. So when you notice that, you can clear all the AIs that keep that in place. Just pop, bye-bye AI. Bye-bye, 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 bye-bye.
Bye-bye AI, what Gary said.
Exactly, yeah.
It's a shortcut to the POC, to the clearing statement, what Gary said.
Do what's fun for you and what works for you in the moment. You know, like I was sitting in the doctors the other day and they were telling me about this particular procedure, and I was going right into their reality. And I had forgotten all about interesting point of view and AIs, and my eyes were out on stalks. And then I had to sign a waiver at the end if I was to take this. And it said there, and she pointed it out, I understand what I have been told. And I looked at her and I said, I don't understand anything I've just been told. And she looked at me and she laughed. But I was telling her the truth. But it changed the energy of it. And it got me out of it. Because then I was actually willing to see, I've just bought into your fucking reality, the woman. Cool. Thank you. Does that help?
Yes, it helps. And if I can share with the medical stuff, I have a medical thing too. And about 15, 20 years ago, my diagnosis was in a certain way. And I knew that wasn't true. But the doctors looked at me like I was ready to be hospitalized, to go to a mental institution. And the other day I met another doctor, and they say, well, things are changing. They're seeing that there are more possibilities for recovery and for healing than they perceived 20 years ago. And it was like, yes, I told you so. But
okay, so can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Are you a futurist?
My first reaction was yes, but I don't know what that is.
A futurist is somebody that's able to perceive the future. So many years ago, I started making those feng shui water fountains, and I'd seen them overseas. I'd seen them in India or something, and I went, "Wow, that's cool! I could sell those." And I started building them. I sourced all the products and everything like that. And then I started selling them in markets, but they weren't selling very well. And so I gave up. And then 3 years later, they're in every fucking shop. That's a futurist. But many of us are futurists with what's going on with our bodies too. We actually know that there is a possibility of change. We're choosing that, and somehow we're trying to show people that there is another possibility. But many times it's landing on deaf ears because they have a point of view that keeps them from receiving. So you've got to go, can this person hear this? Yes, no, no, shut the fuck up. Yes, okay.
Thank you.
No worries. And all the AIs that are attached to that 20 years ago, can we now destroy and uncreate them all?
Yes.
Good, bear, right, wrong, pop, popcorn, iron, shots, boys, and beyonds. Oh, I want to go into the molecular demanifestation class now. If you're coming on that, can you remind me of this conversation? Because there's a whole bunch of energy on that with bodies as well. And part of the molecular demolecular manifestation class is that energy of communing with molecules, but also communing with your own molecules and changing things. And I've just had this awareness of much your body is aware of the future and creating that as an awareness in your body now, and then you think that you're fucked up, or that you get a diagnosis that in this reality your body is fucked up, when it's actually just your awareness of what's possible, of the possible changes that are coming.
I just got the awareness when you spoke about that your body starts to change it because it knows what is possible, but then you have all those points of view of yourself, of people around you, of doctors, of other people. And if you buy into those, they stop that process.
Yeah, and that's part of the artificial intelligence too. That's what it's designed to do, is to stop that process so nothing ever changes. And futurists like you and me, you then we go into the wrongness of ourselves. I mean, I bet you were there for a few years thinking that you were a nut and trying to fight against it. Right, and now with these tools of access, you can be an allowance of it, but still be the mouth, the lion that roars. Is that right? The voice that roars. But you don't have to roar at the people that can't hear it. There's enough people in consciousness now that you can contribute, then they can contribute to you to start creating what you're aware of in 20 years now.
But it helped very much that I had a living example in my family that went through the same thing. So I knew what was possible from that point of view.
Yeah. Wow. So they weren't. So you had an angel in your reality. How does it get any better than that? So all of you angels that are futurists, or all of you angels that pop that one. All of you angels on here right now that know that something else is possible, all the AIs that stop you from having that as a reality, will you now destroy and uncreate all of that? Good and bad, right, wrong, pop, popcorn, iron, shorts, boys, and beyonds. I've got to go. We've done 45 minutes. So I will send this out this evening. If you want to come to the MDDM, and I've said that 3 times now. I think you have to say it 3 times so it goes into your head so you buy it. Looking forward to that. And if not, I'll see you all in about a month for the other, because this is a subscription channel and I just do one a month out of the 4 a month for free. So we'll see you all in a month's time. And what else is possible?
Thank you.
Ciao.
Bye.
Oh, I've forgotten how to stop this.